Hey everyone, Thyworm here with an SSF strategy to getting a bunch of 8 mod corrupted maps without doing all the work rolling them. Instead, we're using some of the new Scarabs. Let's dive in. In case you're unaware, 8 mod corrupted maps are, well, maps that are corrupted and have 8 modifiers. The reason why these maps are considered valuable is because they have a lot of item quantity, rarity and monster pack size. They're also more difficult to run because of all the mods, but typically the pros outweigh the cons. Normally you could attempt to get corrupted 8 mod maps by using an orb of alchemy and then a vaal orb, but often that only gets you 4 or 5 mods, which simply isn't as good. Using this strategy, you guarantee 8 mods due to the Cartography Scarab of Corruption, a pretty common scarab. The only prerequisite is that you have the Cartography Scarab of Corruption. You can spice it up a bit with another scarab, the Delirium Scarab of Delusions, to add layers of delirium as well to your dropped maps. What I do is just save up a bunch of these scarabs, respec an atlas tree that is not my all-purpose atlas tree, and go ham for maybe 20 or 40 or so maps to refill my entire stack so I can run other strategies again or do more testing. I've been doing this for days now, playing also for days, and I've been able to self-sustain so far. How this strategy works is that you run a juicy map, ideally an 8 mod corrupted map, with any scarab that increases drops, map drops, pack size, any of those things. To increase drops, we may spec into nodes on the atlas, and then we top it all off with the Cartography Scarab of Corruption, which turns all non-unique maps into corrupted maps with 8 mods. The atlas I'm using is rather generic as well, meaning you don't have to do a big respec every time you've collected enough cartography scarabs for another run. Moreover, we're using Searing Exalt altars, which can duplicate maps. This stacks multiplicatively with scarabs and with strongboxes. On the map device, we're taking ambush. Let's talk about the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. It is a very convenient way to collect a bunch of juicy maps. It saves you tons of clicks, as rolling maps is a tedious task I would rather avoid. This strategy lets you avoid it for the most part. And 2. The strategy uses common scarabs and can therefore be run often. There are cons too, however, just one. While these 8 mod corrupted maps can drop with quality on them, typically they don't. That is a minor con. However, the alternative, rolling maps and praying for high quantity 8 mod corrupted outcomes, isn't all that appealing either. When it comes to scarabs, you have some options, but to give you an idea, here is a small test which I did. I put stacks of regular cartography scarabs, a cartography scarab of corruption, a cartography scarab of ascension, and a delirium scarab of delusions in the map device. And I ran 20 corrupted tier 16 maps with 8 mods and layers of delirium. Or in other words, the maps that you drop from exactly these scarabs. After running 20 of these maps, I gathered 85 8 mod corrupted maps with layers of delirium, as you can see in this tab. Out of those, 58 I can run with my build, which of course depends on what you can and cannot run or are willing to run. This is just to give you an impression. I didn't use the map duplication scarab because I ran out of those, which would have provided me with roughly 30% more maps. If you would run tier 17 maps, the story changes completely, but you need a really good build to pull that off. I simply don't have that, plus I really dislike the tier 17 maps so far, rolling them, basically everything about them. I haven't run them much at all, even though I should, as they drop an amulet that would be great for my build. I've been having too much fun testing out new strategies though, in tier 16. Let's talk about the Atlas passive tree and the choices that I made. I'm taking the Nico tag with Packed with Energy. It remains a staple node on most of my Atlas trees. We're taking strongbox nodes, increasing pack size when triggering them, making them reopenable, and we're specifically taking concealed logistics, duplicating maps and increasing the chance of cartographers' strongboxes. I'm taking plenty of shrine nodes as it makes you very zoomy, plus it adds more monsters around those shrines. We spec into the Searing Exarch, including all pack size nodes. That is also to make sure that you spawn most altars possible in your maps, giving those altars the best odds for duplicating maps. You also noticed me taking a bunch of heist nodes, in particular casing the joint I like, as it sometimes drops entirely revealed blueprints. Those are the most fun to run. Heist nodes are of course completely optional, but I feel farming maps and clicking heist for blueprints does synergize quite well. I might run some heist later in the league. One keystone that is optional, but I do like it, is singular focus. This targets all your favorite maps and turns all other non-favorite maps into currency. I have favored around 8 different maps for a bit of variety. This way, you make sure you drop the maps you enjoy running. If you don't take this node, you will drop a bunch of maps which you likely will never run. Maps like Academy or Museum or that sort of nonsense. And finally, like I mentioned in earlier videos, I am level 100 now, so I am juicing up the maps quite a lot, taking nodes like Chiseled Perfection, Invasive Adversaries and Mounting Modifiers. This does make the map a lot harder, but the increase in loot is worth it. If you don't want to take all the juicy nodes, you can unspec those and spend points on scarab nodes, for example. We're also taking all the map drop nodes that we have access to. Something's gotta give, of course, and in this case, that something are the scarab nodes. We dropped all of them as this strategy isn't about farming scarabs, but about farming maps. Scarabs still drop all the time as we are running fairly juicy maps, so you don't really need scarab nodes in that sense. There are nodes on the atlas that make connected maps drop more often from monsters. This is a great way to increase your map drops if you can find 2 adjacent maps on the atlas that you like running. If you do, then only favor those 2 maps and then spec into a bunch of these nodes. In my case, however, the maps I enjoy running are not adjacent, so taking these nodes doesn't do anything for me. This is just a small video to get yourself a bunch of maps, but I do hope you like it and I hope you try out this strategy. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm taking those into account. Subscribe and like for more ARPG guides. Thanks so much for watching and making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.